The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised.
But we gotta go fast.
Right in the trash.
Okay.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. My name is JD, and joining me is Kyle.
It's me.
It is Kyle. It's always a good time when Kyle's here. It's a real party. And Matt is here too.
I'm here, and I'm ready to floss on screen. Twice even.
Oh God. Oh. Yeah. All right. Well, we said we'd do it, and here we are. We're talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog live-action animation hybrid movie. And I'll just say up front, well, first of all, spoilers, because I always forget to say that up front. And second, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. It was a cute movie.
What
do you say?
Said it wasn't very good either.
It was middling. is my base impressions of this movie.
Probably surprised to no one, but I actually quite enjoyed it.
Oof.
It kind of takes a lot to get like a negative reception out of me, admittedly, but no, I always was under the belief that it wasn't going to be like, I think I've said before on here that I didn't think that it would be particularly good, but it would be fun. But no, I did enjoy it quite a lot. Like, I can see why people wouldn't enjoy it for, a variety of reasons, but no, I definitely want to go see it again, at least. Like, it's definitely worth a second viewing in my eyes, and I'll definitely get the Blu-ray when it comes out.
Sure.
But it's definitely one of the better Sonic things that have come out in recent memory, aside from like, Sonic Mania.
Yeah. Which this movie makes a reference to Sonic Mania, and it made me laugh.
It makes a lot of references.
Well, so I wanted to say, like, right off the bat that there are a lot of, like, Sonic and Sega Easter eggs throughout this movie. But the one, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough, I was kind of sad that they didn't really make a lot of music references, because like the one thing you can always count on with like Sonic is that the soundtrack is at least going to be good.
The very end had the Green Hill Zone music, very somber, pixelated music.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like they had like motifs of Green Hill Zone pretty much throughout the entire movie.
But that's actually pretty typical of modern Sega, though, is that they tend to throw Green Hill Zone in like wherever they can. So if we're gonna get at least one song on the soundtrack that's from the games, it's of course gonna be that one. It's just the one that people tend to associate.
They don't want to get sued by Michael Jackson's estate.
Which is a shame, because that's some of the best Sonic tracks are out of 3.
And I just think it's funny that the only Sonic 3 music on the Smash Brothers soundtrack is the remix of Angel Island, which, like, if 3 is such a sticking point for Sega, I don't know how they got away with that, but
I think because that remix was made back when Brawl came out, so I'm sure.
Yeah, they still use it though.
Worried about that. Anyway, before we get like too much into the production stuff, I did do my research on this.
Oh damn!
So I did want to info spout just a little bit about the production that went behind it, because obviously we're aware of, like, when the first trailer came out, like, it looked hideous, and then they were like, we're gonna put it back in the oven for a bit and we'll get back to you.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And then, we got the second trailer, and then not long after we got the movie. But I think a lot of people don't know or remember that they've actually been trying to make a Sonic movie since like 1994. They've originally, so the movie that we just got was from Paramount. Originally in 1994, it was MGM had the film rights, and the screenplay that they were originally working with for that one, I think it was, I didn't write it down, I think it was called like Sonic the Hedgehog Wonders of the World or something akin to that. But basically the plot of that was some kid is playing a Sega Saturn and he accidentally brings Sonic and Robotnik into the real world. And the plot of that is that the kid and Sonic have to stop Robotnik from stealing all the world's landmarks and from turning all the children into robots.
Yikes.
What?
Yeah.
I really want to know what Hollywood's obsession with is. Like, why we can't just adapt things and be like, yeah, they live in a funny cartoon world, and you know that we'll have adventures there. It's like, no, they have to come through a portal into the real world and interact with real world humans. And I'm like,
nobody's done it better than Fat Albert.
It's Fat Albert.
Hey.
With people.
So they tried to do that in 1994, and then obviously that fell through the cracks, but probably for good reason. Sony then got the rights in 2013. They hired the director that ended up being on the final film, Jeff Fowler, came in on 2016, but then Sony put the film in turnaround in 2017, and Paramount picked up the rights. So then after that, we kind of got like all the news that we're aware of, like the bad trailer, the announcement that they're pushing the movie back to, because it was supposed to come out in November, and then they said like, no, we're gonna put it on a Valentine's Day, and then
it's a perfect date movie. It's got romance in it. If you want to see the budding relationship of a grown man and a tiny blue space alien.
The thing is, this is not James Marsden's first rodeo with a CGI animal, because he was also in Hop.
Yeah,
I
love
with the Russell Brand Brand bunny.
I love the post going around and be like, what is it with Hollywood and putting live actors driving with animated characters in the passenger seat?
Yeah, because they had had Rocky and Bullwinkle and Alvin and the Chipmunks, and
it is just funny because you have to take a second to realize James Marsden's in there twice.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny. So I was trying to look up Jeff Fowler because I know this is his first feature film, but I was trying to look at some of the other stuff he's done. And honestly, it's not a lot. But the one notable thing is that he actually was nominated for a Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film in 2004 for a film called Gopher Broke.
Oh,
like Gopher, like
yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And then I think he did he assisted on the live action Where the Wild Things Are. But that was the other notable thing on there. But then also I was looking into the screenwriters, and it's Patrick Casey and Josh Miller. Apparently they collab a lot, so they were brought onto this project. I looked through their filmography, and I saw some National Lampoon stuff, and they're just a bunch of nothing, stuff that nobody would recognize. There was one notable thing on there. Have you guys ever heard of Gamebox 1.0?
Not at all.
Nope.
Okay. Go check out a trailer for it after we're done recording. It's god awful. I've never watched the full film myself, but I've seen reviews that other people have done on it, and it just is the worst thing. And I think a lot of people had reason to worry when they got announced as being the screenwriters for this, because I had no idea they were the Gamebox people.
Oh, jeez.
The main character in that movie is I think Sabrina's boyfriend from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the original live action show.
Oh,
yeah. Harvey Keitel, something like that. But anyway,
Harvey Keitel is in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of a different Harvey.
And National Treasure.
No, I think his character's name. But anyway,
his name is Harvey.
Anyway, Gamebox is terrible. It's really bad, but it's also video game. But it's video game related, and so is this movie. So that was the correlation.
Yeah.
But the last notable sort of key person aside from the cast was when they decided to do the redesign, they brought in Tyson Hess, who's well known for being the animation director on Sonic Mania, the game, the shorts they did afterwards, Sonic Mania Adventures, the Team Sonic Racing Overdrive shorts they did for Team Sonic Racing. And then, of course, he's worked on both the Archie comics and the IDW comics. But he is also very well known for in 2009 putting out Sonic's Big Fat Adventure, which most people remember for giving us things like Nipples the Enchilada and Batface the Roge and Arms the Arms the Fox. Or
it's really kind of it's kind of funny because my wife knows who Tyson Hesse is, but like knows nothing of his Sonic work. She only knows him from his webcomic Boxer Hockey, which I've never read.
Yeah, you know what? And that's the crazy thing because I didn't follow Boxer Hockey that much, but I had a friend who did. But I'd seen his work here and there. But just to think like he went from just doing webcomics to working on a feature-length film.
Now he's a Sonic guy.
Now he's the Sonic man. Like, good for him.
The fucking Sonic Twitter put up a video, like a 5 or 7 minutes long video of like Tyson teaches you how to draw Sonic.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that. It
was
seems more geared
delightful.
towards like a little kid. So, but
yeah, it was.
That's
funny.
yeah. So apparently, it seems the general audiences tend to really like this movie. I did look up because you see like all the headlines I got on Twitter and the internet, like saying, "Oh, this is one of the highest rated video game adaptations of all time." I think right now it's like sitting at the third highest rated. I think the first is still Angry Birds 2, which is like a 73%, which is, as far as video game adaptations, that's
I'm about to say, being the highest rated video game movie is not a high bar to clear.
No, but I'd say it's at least decent. Then you got Detective Pikachu, which is at 69. Nice.
Nice.
And then Sonic at 63. But of course, there's still more reviews coming out and all that. It might adjust here and there. But it's got like a pretty damn good audience score because it's got like 94% out of 8,000 reviews. So, I mean.
And apparently it's the highest grossing video game movie.
Yeah,
so far,
it at least beat Detective Pikachu's record.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. There was
is it a better movie
that Sonic was, or
no? Detective Pikachu was way better.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, no question. It's definitely a better movie. I'd watch Detective Pikachu 100 times over rewatching this movie. Not to say that I didn't like watching this movie. I did get I did laugh quite a bit in this movie. There are some good, like, if you know a little bit about Sonic history or like references and stuff, there's stuff in there to keep your attention.
Yeah, no, there's definitely like it is loaded with like a bunch of references. Not like the crossover episode that OKKO did. Like it's not loaded with like tons of references in that specific way. But there's a lot of like sort of they kind of it's a what's the word I'm thinking of? Not under yeah, I can't think. Yeah, I'm understated. I think understated is probably the word I'm thinking of. References.
Okay.
But yeah, I think people are still like finding stuff that they saw in the movie. I noticed a couple things when I actually watched it in the theater, but then there's a bunch of stuff that I missed out on that I saw like in the lists afterwards, and I won't go into all of them. I won't go into all of them here because it's better with like visual reference. But
yeah,
there was stuff like him in the bar and like he's doing the sort of like animation where he's hanging off the edge of like of a cliff where he's kind of waving his arms, or like him doing the idle animation when like he kind of enables his speed during all the missiles getting shot at him. He's like tapping his foot and checking his wrist.
Yeah. I some of the ones I noticed. He at one point he pulls out like a map. It's like a world map or something.
Yeah, that thing's loaded with the references actually.
Yeah, the one I specifically noticed is one of the world icons is the Sega Saturn logo.
Yeah, so one of them is the Saturn logo, and then there's one that's like the Get Blue Spheres world,
and
I think one of them's like a reference to concept art from Sonic 1. There's like there's concept art of like one of the loop-de-loops, and it's got like this weird sun face like at the top of it, and so they use that sun face in that map like literally 1-to-1. Like it's pretty interesting. That's like funny. I would never have caught that.
Yeah. So yeah, this movie is loaded with references. I mean, I even just like the Sega logo that the movie starts out with. Is just like just for like 5 seconds, it just holds on this big, like, encompassing the entire screen, which is like, here's a bunch of Sega games, like here's Golden Axe and Space Channel 5 and Valkyria Chronicles, and this is like like little video clips of like pretty much every game from Sega's history, and I was like, that's fun. And
Setting
then,
up the Sega cinematic universe.
and then the music even does a little Sega. It made me laugh. I did kind of like that they showed a little bit of Sonic's actual world in the beginning, even though I really kind of wish more of the movie was set there. They brought in the echidnas, even though I've never, really, I don't know a whole lot about Sonic lore, but I didn't know if they were back.
The echidnas are kind of like a bigger deal in the Archie comics, at least. I don't know what they're doing with IDW now, because I know they erased a bunch of that canon, but as far as the games go, I don't know that they really addressed too much echidna stuff aside from like Sonic Adventure 1.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, God.
I am imagining he's gonna throw a fit.
He's been bitching on Twitter ever since it came out.
Yeah,
because then he wanted them to use like a script he made or something for a Sonic movie, and
no,
something called Sonic Live, which was basically what you explained from the MGM movie or whatever.
I think I actually own that comic. I'll have to go and check my collection of the old Archie Sonic comics, but I think that might be one that I actually own.
Oh God, Sonic! Just the cover of Sonic Live is terrifying.
It's pretty bad. Even back then, he sure did, and they don't know how to hold a game controller.
Oh God! But
yeah, the echidnas are there, and like there's like other sort of more blatant references to stuff, like Sonic does yell "Gotta go fast" after he gets hit with like some smelling salts,
and then there's the Sonic, the horrible Sonic drawing.
I thought the application of that was pretty funny though, actually, because it's drawn by like an old crazy guy. Is like, oh no, I've seen him. He looks like this. Like
it's like, of course, the Sonic drawing.
Yeah.
The weirdest reference was they had the owl from the OVA.
Okay,
you know what? Yeah, I actually looked into that, and because I love the OVA, and so when I saw that owl, I did think of that. But then I was looking on Twitter earlier today. Actually, a friend sent me a link, and not just the OVA, but there's apparently this guidebook that came out shortly after Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the game, came out. And this guidebook actually gave the backstory for Sonic the comic, which was, instead of the Archie comic in Britain, they had Sonic the comic. And it used this guidebook as sort of like a jumping off point. And in that, apparently Sonic was discovered by an owl. So I don't know what it is, the Sonic and owls, but
so when Mel and I went and watched this movie, I was confused by the owl, and then she asked me, is that actually from Sonic the games or something? It's like, I honestly don't know. Like, the only owl character I know is the one from the OVA, and it's like, there's no parental figure there. He's just a crazy dude.
It's the old man.
He's a crazy old man with the swirly glasses.
He wears Sonic's favorite clothes.
He does.
Well, in the comics, he had Uncle Chuck, and that was his big old parental figure.
Yeah, and his uncle was a robot. That was also a hedgehog.
His uncle turns into a robot.
His uncle robot.
Uncle robot.
I'm familiar with Uncle Chuck. Don't you worry.
Are you now? Because I read all that shit when I was a kid.
I own I think the oldest Sonic Archie comic I own might be like issue 20, like physically.
Oh damn.
Yeah. But I bought that like way after the fact. I wasn't like I was never one of those kids that grew up like subscribed to any comics or whatever. I just sort of like, whenever my parents decided like, hey, there's something to do, let's go to the comic shop, and I would just see like what Sonics they had there, and like I didn't even look into like buying sequential issues. I was just like, hey, the cover for this one looks pretty cool, and they did look cool. So I just have a bunch of like haphazard collection of issues there, but it's still pretty cool.
The first issue, I got it at a grocery store.
Oh, nice. That's the one with the cover where like it looks like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah, it looks fucking terrible.
Sally's got like black hair.
Yeah.
No vest. It looks weird in comparison to like what came later.
Jesus.
I absolutely hate all those fucking characters.
You don't like all the characters that showed up in what was the there was Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then they did
Sad AM.
that's
Yeah.
so that's the one that was like based on the Archie stuff.
Yeah, I fucking hate all those characters so much.
I haven't reread the Sonic comics in a while, but I don't really have any reason to, except for what thing was his name, Antoine. He was like he was like a French
French Fox.
Yeah, Fox or something. I remember him being kind of annoying, but that's the only thing I remember.
Of course, he's annoying. He's French.
And then
the
rabbit.
Bunny.
The cyborg rabbit.
Bunny Rabbit.
Oh God. I've never watched any of the 90s. Well, okay, let me rephrase this. I've never watched any of the Sonic TV shows. So.
Oh wait, really?
No.
Oh, I'm sure you mentioned that in like one of the other Sonic things that we did, but
yeah, I've never watched Adventures. I've never watched. I tried.
You're telling me you've never seen Sonic Underground? Come on.
I vaguely remember like maybe having a passing glance at Sonic Underground because it was probably on real early in the morning before school. I tried to watch like the first episode of Sonic Sad AM like a couple of years ago, and I'm like, what is this horse shit?
It's pretty manic.
But anyway, so Kyle, you said you weren't big on this movie. What were kind of your thoughts about this movie?
Well, anytime they do a live action adaptation of anything that has an animal in it, say like Godzilla or anything like that, Transformers, the most boring part is when they have to put humans in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the scenes with just the humans, it's boring as fuck.
Yeah, that definitely does drag down certain bits. I understand why they're there. And I understand, like, even why the movie is in the setting it is just, given its budget and, like, kind of scope, like, they kind of had to test the waters to see, like, if this is going to work out. And honestly, like, if they hadn't have done the redesign, I don't know that it would be as well received as it is. Like, even with the same script and everything, like, just that version of Sonic doing what Sonic does in the movie, like, it would have been not visually pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think if they do a sequel and it's more Sonic in his own world with Tails and then Robotnik's there, it might be a lot better because it'll be more self-contained. And
yeah, totally. And I think that's what they're like building towards too. I read an excerpt of an interview with the screenwriters, and they were talking about how originally the original script is loaded with like a lot more CG characters, like presumably more of like the Sonic characters that we know. But they just kept on kind of having to cut back, and we kind of just ended up with the movie that we ended up with.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, so it is good to hear that the movie is doing so well, like in audience reviews and like, financially and stuff, because I do want to see a follow-up that does like that's closer to like a Sonic product that we know, like a game or a comic or the shows or something.
I also thought the message, or I don't even know if it was a message or not, but thought it was pretty shitty that Sonic got mad at him for wanting to move up in life.
Yeah, I thought the whole like tiff between James Marsden and Sonic, because like, oh, you're moving out of town, is like, I felt that was so forced, and I feel like it's almost resolved almost immediately. So it's like, why even bother bringing it up?
Because they need conflict.
They need conflict, but it's like such a nothing conflict.
It is a nothing conflict, but also you got to remember, like, Sonic's supposed to be basically like a kid in this movie, so his reactions to certain things and how they like happen and stuff, that honestly, like even like the flossing I mentioned earlier, like that fits in line with like Sonic in this movie. He's like a kid. He's grown up watching people. I'm sure he doesn't even know what a Fortnite is. He just sees kids doing it, and he's like, "Hey, that looks cool. I'll do that too." Like,
oh jeez,
And that's the thing I do really like is the characterization of Sonic in this movie, though, because he's got a lot more character than like we've seen from Sonic in a very long time. Like I would say, Sonic Boom, like the CG show, that's the like in recent memory, that's the only like version of Sonic I can think of that was interesting, because when you look at like any of the CG games that have come out where like they've actually had scripts and voice acting and stuff, it's pretty like Sonic is like, it's goes fast.
He's
I mean,
he's the cool guy.
Yeah.
Can you tell me his personality in the CG games? Because you got me there.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Is that he exhibits more personality in this movie than he does in those games, and
Yeah.
that's and like what we've seen in Sonic Boom, the show is like the only other instance of recent memory that I can think of where like he's actually had some semblance of personality.
Yeah. Well, I thought that whole conflict was dumb because the movie starts off with him just bored out of his mind, fucking scanning turtles and shit. And then he's like, no, it's cool. You can live in this place. And it's fucking dumb. And they do it. Instead of going to San Francisco and actually having a real job, he just stays. It's so fucking dumb.
But Kyle, he fulfills his bucket list item. He saved a life, so he's fulfilled his destiny, and he's going to live out his life in the same town he's always lived in forever.
In mediocrity.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, that was fucking dumb. I don't know.
Did you like Jim Carrey at least?
Jim Carrey is just Jim Carrey in any movie.
Yeah, but that's why you get Jim Carrey, because you want Jim Carrey, and Jim Carreyed it up.
I will echo. What?
If you took out Sonic from the movie, would he still be Robotnik?
Probably
no,
not.
No, because Sonic basically leads. Because at the very end we see sort of his degradation into becoming like the Robotnik that we're familiar with, like design wise. Even like the voice he puts on, like at the end when he's like all shaved.
Yeah,
and,
he puts on a gruffer voice.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty close to like a Robotnik voice that we would, like Mike Pollock, or it was pretty neat.
Yeah. I will kind of echo what most other reviewers have been saying about this movie, that it is kind of nice to get like 90s era Jim Carrey back, because he hasn't really acted in a while.
He's been on a Showtime show for
but I've felt from what I've seen, it's more of kind of a drama.
At least in this decade, he's been focused more on like his artwork and stuff.
Yeah,
from what I was able to tell. But also he's had like some sort of like mental the stuff that he's been working through and stuff. So it was really nice to see him on the big screen again.
Mm-hmm.
He's also gone absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah, but I mean, who in Hollywood hasn't?
Yeah. But I did like Jim Carrey in this because it just feels like 90s Jim Carrey again. I don't know if he was, Robotnik by
he was an entertaining villain, even if it wasn't like he's starting to become the Robotnik at the end there, but like this is like his origin so much as it is like Sonic's as well. So it is interesting to kind of see them kind of develop that, because I mean they kind of explored Robotnik's origin a bit like in the comics, but it's always been like kind of weird how they approached it, and this is a more sort of like grounded like take on how that would happen, because I mean the ones in the comics obviously are a bit more fantastical. They kind of rely on all like a manner of different worlds and like all these species and stuff, but to work within the confines of Earth, and like how somebody with like a massive ego like this doctor would react to this unlimited source providing space alien hedgehog, like
right.
But see, the thing about this is you're not really guaranteed a sequel. You don't know if there's going to be a sequel. They lead up to it.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's going to happen.
Oh,
so
yeah. Like
the whole fucking movie building up to something and then it never happens. It's kind of a fucking waste.
Yeah.
They really like the post credit, or I guess mid credit stuff. There is no actual post credit. But yeah, the mid credit scenes in this are really banking on like there's gonna be another one.
Because I mean, the best example I can give is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Fucking nothing came from that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will say that I got spoiled on the very last mid-credits scene, and the voice actress herself was the one who spoiled it for me.
Oh, good, because she confirmed that. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
well, no, because she was all like when the day the movie came out, she's like, hey, make sure you stay after the credits for something, and I'm like, well, you voiced Tails, so probably. And then she kept retweeting everyone, be like, oh my god, you're so good as Tails, and like it was so cool to see in the movie. I'm like, yeah, that would have been a nice surprise, I guess. But
it was good.
you know, Tails probably got a redesign too, because I'm sure he had a horrifying humanoid design, which I kind of want to see now, just for reference.
There's been a bit of like concept art and like the physical stand-in models that we've been seeing pictures of that have come out since the movie's released, and I'm sure that we'll get the original version of what he looked like before Tyson Hesse was brought in. Because also, I think like the echidnas in the movie, I think they were supposed to, I read somewhere they're supposed to be just like these big lizard monsters before they redesigned it to be echidnas too. Yeah. Like just because that's the thing. I think Longclaw's like, I don't think they changed her design at all, probably because it didn't matter because she's only in there for like a minute. So
yeah.
Yeah, but she was the only like one that looked out of place with like the Sonic style, but that's not entirely, unheard of. We've seen kind of style clashes in Sonic product before, like Sonic 06 is like the one that comes to mind.
Oh god, Sonic 06.
Think about that. We could have gotten an adaptation of Sonic 06 instead of what we got. So I think
Sonic would have Frenched a real lady.
It's no use.
Yeah, so I mean, I think as far as video game adaptations go, for everything that was going wrong with this movie when we first were shown it, I will say this could have gone a lot worse. But I think all in all, for me, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It was cute, and I was glad I saw it. If anything, for the novelty of it. I mean this is definitely like a made for Sonic fans, but also at the same time made for little kids. I'm sure half of the box office for this is just like little kids are like, oh my god, I love Sonic, mommy, go take me to see this movie. And I'm like, yeah, there's no real family movies out right now, so I mean the timing actually was pretty good, I guess.
Well, helps. It was also released on like a 4-day weekend.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because President's Day was on Monday, and most kids don't have school. So, I thought it was a perfectly fine movie. I again would have liked more of Sonic's actual world more than the real world shenanigans. But what are you gonna do about it?
Next movie.
Yeah, next movie maybe. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up before we wrap up?
Nah.
I just I feel like we can all go out for a never-ending pasta bowl at Olive Garden after this.
Dude, what the fuck was with the Olive Garden commercial?
At JD, when you're there, your family.
And then they even make a fucking Fast and Furious reference. Like we're a family.
I would have said that it's like eating at a delightful Italian stereotype.
Like eating at a delightful Italian stereotype. God, I just want to watch Clone High now. Yeah. But seriously, that was like the most shoehorned product placement I've ever seen.
It was pretty weird. It was pretty weird. Although because it kind of played it up as like a joke, so at least it wasn't like it's not like they went to an Olive Garden and they were like advertising it there. They just brought it up like a conversation.
Actually go to Olive Garden, but it was kind of funny because like literally an hour before I went to go see this movie, I was just dicking on Twitter, and I saw that Tyson Hesse put a picture.
Olive Garden Zone.
Olive Garden Zone. And I'm like, okay, that's funny, I guess. And then as soon as they start making Olive Garden jokes, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That was fucking weird. And then a little girl gives him his shoes.
Yeah.
And it was adorable. And they're sassy black ladies.
That as far as like the human acting in the movie went, I think that whole sequence when they're at the sister's house is pretty funny though.
They're tied to a chair. Casual hostage taking is casual. All right, guys. Well, there you go. There's our thoughts on the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I hope if you went and saw it, you enjoyed it. Or not, I'm not here to tell you how to think. We're just here to give our opinions. Let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments. And we will be back again next week with something else. I don't know. I'm not going to say what because, I don't like to make promises that I don't fulfill.
No, we did. No, but we did, though. We did do Sonic.
I know, but never mind. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the show. Join our Discord to chat with us, and subscribe to our Patreon for some cool bonuses. Links are in the description. We'll see you next time.